Hello, everybody. Welcome back to The Common Theory, the number one competitive Pauper EDH podcast on the internet, but also 60 card. And that's actually what we're here to talk to you about today. Some 60 card for you, a little bit of background. I and these two fine gentlemen here played in a really awesome tournament this past weekend on Saturday in New York City. It's the NYCIS Pauper Open 2 at Hex & Co. A tournament we've been looking forward to for a few months now, and these guys, both part of the local Jersey City crew, they top aided and funny enough on the same exact deck. So we'll get into that in a little bit. But first, Franklin, how you doing, man? What's up?
Doing pretty good. Just to kind of date the day that we're recording this, today's a little bit of a sad day for everyone who's like a big Uma Musume fan, as Haru Urawa died, everyone's favorite loser.
Or went out for a homie.
Yeah, I mean the guy was like living his best life, getting fed all the like ryegrass he ever wanted, but now he's like racing up into the heavens. Super sad. But what's actually also kind of messed up, and I don't know how to present this well, but I figured you guys would get a really big kick out of it. When I picked up my son from school, he was like, "Hey, you guys, did you know that on September 11th something really cool is going to happen?" I was like, no, don't tell me what you're going to tell me. They're like, yeah, there's going to be a big explosions. I'm like, no, don't tell me that. I was like, yeah, there's going to be airplanes too. I'm like, no! You're 6 years old, you shouldn't know this.
Was he talking about something else, or was he just...
No.
Oh,
I'm just like, what the hell do they teach these kids in school?
Yeah,
I'm just oh my God.
That's the whole thing over here, man. I mean, like, we were talking about it on the way back, actually, from the tournament, you know, when it happened. And if you're in Jersey City at the time or anywhere in North Jersey, it was obviously a life-changing and altering experience. I'll leave it at that. The one cool thing is that you can see I don't know if it's cool, but I mean, I guess you can see the lights of the monument. So the monument is amazing. They did such a good job with it. It's absolutely beautiful. It's very cool. But the lights, we can see it from from the building, from my backyard. So I was barbecuing last night and saw the lights. I was like, oh yeah,
no, that's super cool. But yeah, like I had to share for today. And, like, unfortunately, I know you guys are from New York, so that's really not like in the best taste. But again, hearing a 6-year-old running around saying, "Oh my God, this is really good," I'm like, no, please, oh God, no.
Yeah, kids are just like on the internet, so they just I don't know anything.
Oh no, I make sure he's not on the internet,
right? But yeah, anything they hear, they just say it, right? So they can't help themselves.
Yeah, it's just more of a reminder of like a lot has changed in the last 24 years.
Now that you've successfully bummed everyone out,
seriously,
guys, we'll start with Kevin because I see you're on my left apparently. How are you doing, man? What's good? Have you been?
I'm good. I'm Kevin. Hello. Yeah, I'm doing well. I was very excited to go to this tournament. I was hoping to honestly win one match. That's how badly my testing went for the most part. So I landed on Rally basically like 3 weeks before and then just tested that into a bunch of blue decks because that's what I was expecting, and it went pretty good for me.
Sick.
So
we'll come back to that. We'll come back to
of course.
The deck tech in a minute. That's the first thing we're going to kick off. But before that, John, how have you been, man? How are you? What's good in the hood?
I'm doing good. Had a great time at the tournament. The big goal was not to go 0-10 in the first round as a community.
You guys have very high goals for yourselves.
Big improvement this year.
Aspirational. Right on.
Usually going
set the bar low, right? And you'll always surprise yourself, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, not going 0-X is usually the goal too.
Yeah. I'm just gonna go O2 drop, and it just means I have way more time for lunch and beer because Hex & Co actually has beer. Well, thank you for being here. First of all, it's awesome that you can join us. But yeah, let's get into it. You're both mono red players.
Yeah, and you both
not only mono red players, but you're on the same flavor of mono red, of which there are it's like two, but then I feel like there's like mono red dredge, which is like a mono red deck. It's a very different kind of deck. So there's some other stuff floating around out there. Other styles of burn, which like obviously Rakdos Madness is not a mono red deck, but it's like in that same family, right, of like fast burn decks. So like Kevin, we'll start with you, man. Like, yeah, why why? I guess two things, right? Why mono red, and then why mono red rally specifically?
Yeah, I guess first question, red. I always like playing. I feel like things come down to combat and like kind of outsmarting your opponent around combat a lot of the times. That's where you can gain a lot of advantage. Hasted creatures, just good cardboard that makes more cardboard, pretty much. And the best part is it's easy for the most part to play. Outside of some like decisions, right? Knowing the other person's deck, what they're trying to accomplish, like when your windows are into certain matchups are a little bit more complicated. But I pretty much went with red because I thought it would be the thing that I wouldn't mess up on. When I first started, I was playing a lot of traditional burn, Kessick Flame Breather. I tested out like a bunch of brews with like Kessick Flame Breather and Thermo Alchemist, Gutter Snipe, like 4 or 5 Fire Blast, like Madness Shells, like that, which were cool. They were like very combo heavy. You could like kill somebody with 20 points of damage around turn 4 if you got it. But I basically saw, I assume, the same list John did somewhere on MTG decks. It was like a list that did well. I saw that it was running 3 Synths, which always felt good because it wasn't a dead card. And then I basically just forced my friend to play all the mono blue matchups into me, and Rally felt really good into that. I'll go into kind of like my sideboard tech and what I found in that, but that was more or less it. That's why I went with red. Yeah, I know that that's kind of stupid, but yeah, I just thought I wouldn't mess it up. Yeah.
No, that's the best thing. Is like you're afraid of blue decks, run into it. You did the best thing possible. Just practice into your worst matchups.
Yep. The few times I actually went to Pauper events in New York, I played into 3 straight, like either Terror or Fairies, and I was like, okay, so that's what I went in expecting. So
yeah, New York loves the blue decks.
Yeah,
loves them.
Yeah, the rally deck, it's just so much value. Emissary into, either a Reckless Impulse or like a rally at the Hornburg is just insane value in game 1. Like you are just in such an advantage in the matchup. So that's why I went with it.
Yeah, I love Burning Tree Emissary ever since it got printed in Standard. That was my favorite. The Red Green Madness was my favorite deck. Being able to.
Franklin, do you have a mono red deck built up for your Pauper in your 60 card Pauper chest?
I do, but it's not mono. But it's not mono red rally. It's a mono red burn. And I was teaching my wife how to play Magic with it. Regular.
Right. There's 3 flavors, right. Because
there's like a true burn.
There's like Sly, basically. It's just like the old school. Like it's like somewhat pinger burns, but it's got monkeys and all of that. It's like just like your straight.
Yeah, no, this is the traditional straight burn.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the version I have is a straight burn. It's just here's your Thermal Alchemist, here's your Kessick Flame Breather. You're going to draw into every single version of Bolt that exists.
Yeah, I was running a list very akin to that when I first started. I think at the Victory Point Win-A-Box. I was still trying that out, and it sucked against Jund, Grixis.
Yeah.
Like I just couldn't get through the healing, so I figured why not go faster,
Go way faster.
Creatures on the board, hard to deal with.
That makes sense. So, John, same question for you, man. Like, why mono red versus other decks that you may have been playing, and then why rally specifically?
So I was on Kuldotha pre-ban, and when that got banned, a friend of mine sent me a list.
Dirty Kuldotha player.
I miss it. What a beautiful deck. There's no other deck where your turn 1 play could be Furnace, Kuldotha, and pass while you had 3 goblins and no lands. It was amazing.
I know. That's true.
That feels great.
Sick.
But after that, a friend sent me a list, and it was Rally Red, but it was kind of before I think it caught on that Rally was really good. So when I showed up to the last Pauper Open in New York at Hex & Co., I got handed a deck list, like, no, this is the meta list, run this, and it was Pingers, which on me could not play it. It just did not go well for me. But I kind of went through all the other mono red and then Rakdos lists that are out there trying to find it. And I came back to Rally because I think it's the most fun. I also really like it into, there's a lot of weather running around. I like it into Weather the Storm.
You like it into I was going to ask about it when we started getting to the meta questions, but may as well ask it now. But I mean, like, so you feel pretty good about weather? Do you play around it? Do you play into it?
I found that I played into it. Because a lot of times it feels like, you play out, they weather, but you have the body still on the field. You've kept the card advantage, and they've spent 2 mana. They go to the next turn, unless they can get blockers down, they resolve a Chrysalis or something and start blocking. You're going to get the damage back next turn, and if you have like a Bushwhacker in hand, you're going to go well over the amount that they weathered back for, and it feels like they've slowed you down a little, but they really haven't set you back.
That's fair. It's interesting to think about like Bushwhacker as just like it's almost a hard counter to weather. It's 2 mana for 2 mana, but if you are able to get more damage in than their weather, then you just basically counterspell their weather, which is pretty cool, and plus additional value.
Yeah. I just want to talk about the main card of the deck, I guess, the Rally at the Hornburg. Mostly so people listening who are not familiar with the card.
Fair enough.
Here. Yeah, it's the 2 mana sorcery that says create 2 white human soldier creature tokens. Humans who control gain haste until end of turn.
Yeah.
Again,
nice copy.
Going back to the Burning Tree Emissary, it being human giving you 2 mana, going to this, crazy. And if they weather the storm into it, you're like, all right, cool. Smack you for like 6? Don't care.
Yeah, I mean, it can be a lot. To John's point, it's like having the Bushwhacker in hand, and even just having some of that game 1 burn, I found, like, to John's point, you can play into the storm, right? Like, you can force it, and then you can, hold up a Gal Blast or something to, like, go over the top if you need to at instant speed, right?
So you guys are on Gal Blast as well.
Yeah, 4 Gal Blast, 4 Lightning Bolt, and then 2 Chain Lightnings for game 1.
It's a lot of burn.
Yeah, so that's just realistically for me. I look at it as like a way to get over the top sometimes if you need it, right?
Mm-hmm.
They resolve that first Chrysalis or first Terror, but ideally you want to just go wide and play a Bushwhacker like on turn 3 and just hit them to face. Like, that's pretty hard to deal with.
Are you? I know I have your deck list up too, but I just want to ask this, but even though I already know. But are you guys running Manamorphose in your deck, and why not?
It's pretty realistic.
No, I feel it's the opposite thing, right? With Weather the Storm, where it feels like adding to the storm count for your opponent, like.
It also felt slower. I actually did pick up a playset of it, but I opted against it just because, it felt worse into like game 2 against any blue deck, right? It's like any 2 cost spell into blue. I looked at those as things I wasn't going to get to cast anyway, so I was mainly taking them out, right? I was taking out the rallies and the Reckless Impulse because I never got to play them. So, you're just trying to play creatures and go fast.
Yep. That makes sense. Yeah, you're not trying to get your rally spell pierced.
I have seen people running like 2 Ginger Brew. Actually, I think John and I talked about it at the tournament. I don't know. Maybe that's a good question for you, John. Like why you didn't
instead of
it?
the Chain Lightning, I guess.
Yeah, and I think the idea, right, is an extra hasted creature, but it gives you something you play with that colorless green mana. Honestly, Emissary is so broken. Yeah, it's not bad.
I find really liking Chain Lightning it always comes out in the sideboard, but like game 1, it feels nice. Like a lot of times, someone's playing, an early mana dork or like, and you want to bolt the bird and you have it. And, once you know what you're up against, obviously your sideboard pieces are going to be better at handling that. But a lot of times it just felt nice to have another, even if it's not instant speed, having another bolt was nice.
Yeah. Even top decking it in the late game where you're like, okay, I got them down to 5. I can hit them with 2. Like 2 of my 1/1s will get through, but I don't have a Bushwhacker. Like I need any burn spell to kill them. Like you're happy to, whatever, experimental synth into it or find it off the top. Like it's not a bad game 1 card. I agree with John though. Most of the time I'm taking it out too.
Yeah. Were there any matches where you did leave them in?
All the blue matchups. For Terror, I keep them in. Like I said, I take out all the 2-cost stuff. Like, I'm okay with just playing an Emissary and then playing, like, a Tomb Raider with it or something. Like, I'm okay without playing the haste. Like, any body that resolves on the board is something they have to deal with, so they can't be filling their graveyard. Like, to John's point, having the creatures out, like, I know that this sounds silly and, like, obviously, forehead, like, yeah, creatures are good, but it's like in the current meta, like there's a lot of decks that forget that you can just get smacked to the face, right? Like,
I think too, people focus a lot on the rallies and the Emissary. Like interaction, but the core 3 1-drops you have, the Clockwork Percussionist, the Poldarin Epicure, and the Goblin Tomb Raider, are just such a great core of creatures. Like, the amount of times that you... Like, I won games where I did not see an Emissary or a Rally together. Like, you're just playing out these creatures. Like, they're either replacing themselves, they're turning on Metalcraft. In the case of Goblin Tomb Raider, it's just like a 2-damage clock, and like, even if it's eating a removal spell, like, you still got in for 2, like, you're ahead, and it just, they feel really good. Like, it's getting you into the game so quickly.
Yeah, man. Double Tomb Raider is still the most busted start I'm guessing you probably possibly have.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Anytime that would show up, it would be hard not to keep it, right? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, John.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, you get, like, the turn 1 Percussionist into, like, 2 Tomb Raiders on turn 2, and you're just like, yeah, let's go.
That sounds nutty.
That's wacky. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to John's point, you're definitely gambling, right? Like, a lot of the time, and we could talk more maybe about, like, hands that you're keeping and stuff, you know? But the deck is just, like, every piece of cardboard makes something or filters something. So it's like, if you know the curve of the deck and, like, what you could potentially, like, play out from there, like, there's a lot of ways to, you know, cheat value in this deck, right? Even outside of the Emissary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's talk about your guys' sideboards. Kevin, what were you rocking in your sideboard?
Okay, I went with my sideboard was actually like the thing I was figuring out up until pretty much the tournament, but this is what I landed on. Mainly, I guess, I was scared of blue, so obviously 4 Elemental Blasts. In my True Burn list, I was running like up to 6. I tested out like 8 in a sideboard, and what you eventually find is you just don't win the counterspell race, right? Yeah. I read Elemental Blast, you blast, I blast. Like, the blue deck always has more counterspells available because they're running them in their main deck. So 4 felt like the number through my testing that it's like I can protect that Bushwhacker after I've pushed through all of their, you know, Hydro Blast and all that bullshit, right? Oh, sorry, I don't know if I can curse.
You're good.
Oh, you can say
totally
whatever.
Fine.
All right.
Yeah, you can pretty much say whatever you want, as long as it's within reason.
Okay, all right. Yeah, but yeah, you know, all those counter spells. So 4 Elemental Blast, and then I was worried about Terror, so 2 Relic of Progenitus. Is that how I say it? Progenitus?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, Progenitus.
And then a Tormod's Crypt as well, just in case, like, I really felt like I needed to interact with some sort of graveyard.
Yeah, that's interesting. A split between Relic and Tormod's Crypt.
I felt like Relic was generally better if you could get it down early. It felt weird removing Experimental Synths from the list for them. I almost never did that, but a couple of matchups I think it's right. I'm not sure. John probably knows better than me there, but the Tormod's Crypt was mainly just like, there's going to be stuff interacting with Graveyard that I'm not expecting. So in case I run into one of those, right? Like you said, Dredge or something that I eventually ran into a Graveyard deck that I sided it into in top 8, but it didn't. I never drew them, so they didn't help much.
Always happens.
Yeah, I'm jumping the gun here, but did you bring it in against the Pestilence deck?
I did, yeah. I brought in all 3, actually, for sure. As well as 4 and the Festivities to try to break through like the blockers, like on 3.
If I got plants, ones,
So if they play out plants, I get out creatures. My thought was Bushwhack into that pre-combat and then swing in. But
that's actually where your Casting the Fire would have been really good there.
So I guess going back to the sideboard, right? I also brought 4 Cast into Fires and then 4 End the Festivities. Thank you for setting me up there. Which I also brought in that matchup. But yeah, the Cast into Fire, my thinking was Jund and Terror were the things I was going to see most. So Cast into Fire, Jund kind of sucks for the green player. Or for the red player, I think, but it's a hard matchup. Game 2 and 3.
It's really hard, actually.
Yeah, it's very difficult. So like you're kind of living on a prayer, right? So ideally, you draw this. And you take their bridge on 1, their tapped bridge. That's the play pattern.
You're playing Ponza.
Correct. Yeah, you are actively denying black mana. Yeah, or swamps. Right? They can't refurbish.
The best feeling though, actually, is you leave it alone on 1, and then go to Wildfire on 2 and
instant speed. Oh, that's actually tricky. Damn.
Snipe it when they
that's
Wildfire,
super dirty.
I like that.
And then they basically just can't win the game at that point.
But yeah, essentially, you just want to put them 1, if not 2 turns behind, and then you can get there with, you know, whatever creatures you resolve, but burn spells over the top. But yeah, that was pretty much my sideboard. And the festivities also good into elves and white from my testing. But I was really hoping to avoid like elves, white, and fairies. So for and the festivities in case I ran into them.
That makes a lot of sense.
Or the mirror too.
John, what about yours? I'm noticing a couple of differences. Your sideboards are very, very similar. I'd say about half of your cards are the same.
Yeah, I think the big difference from just looking at it, John, I think you traded out the end of the festivities for the electricaries.
I like electricary into Fae.
Yep.
Just because it's modal at that point, so you can hit their Fairy Seer on 1, or if you draw it later, you can pay 2 and attempt a board wipe with it. That's pretty much why it's there. And it's good into white and some other things, but that's my preference for it over the end of festivities. Searing Blaze, I mean, I just like that into any sort of creature-based combo or any sort of a mirror, anything where people are trying to stick creatures to the board because you're keeping that tempo up. And it kind of feels like a nice 1-for-1 for the Chain Lightnings, where like you're going to have targets on the board to hit. You're still getting that 3 damage too. Like you're paying the extra mana for it, but it still feels really good. Mm-hmm. And then Smash to Smithereens is kind of a similar thing, except when you're going into anything is playing artifacts, and you're kind of keeping that same tempo feeling. Like you're still keeping the damage up, you're keeping the pressure on. You're forcing them to make less than optimal decisions to try to stay alive.
Yep, that makes sense. You're also on 2 relics and no other grave hate. Did you feel like you were short on grave hate, or you're totally fine?
I do. I think in hindsight, talk about matchups later, but there was a point where mono blue terror, they fill up that
terror.
Fast.
Okay, yeah. Early relic is definitely helpful, or crypt or whatever. Yeah, in that matchup for sure. Real quick, so you're splitting between Cast in the Fire and Smash to Smithereens. Did that feel good, or do you think you'd rather be on like 4 casts like Kevin's list?
It's a good question. I think the matchups I ended up having, Smashes felt pretty good. It's definitely something I want to test more. It's something I want to look at because the casts are fantastic, but that 3 damage sometimes, like oftentimes, when you have decks that are incidentally gaining 3 life here and there, you end up with a situation where like just pushing through that extra 3 damage sometimes is the difference between, them stabilizing on 2 or 3 life and winning the game.
Yeah. One's a little bit more defensive and one's more offensive. What I'm noticing here is between your 2 boards actually is that Kevin's sideboard is a bit more defensive, actually, a little bit more reactive. And then yours, John, is a little bit more offensive because of the Searing Blazes and the Smash Smithereens specifically.
Yeah, and I definitely think like Cast in a Fire can be a dead card a lot more than Smash to Smithereens can from my testing. I think so, because like when is it bad to destroy an artifact and deal 3 damage, right? Like even if you're forcing them to sack a Lembas or whatever, and then you can like react over the top or something, like, it's not bad. I think Cast in a Fire is, it's nice, right? I liked it mainly because I was so afraid of Jund. Like having 4 of them, I just wanted to deny lands and try to hit them.
Yeah, and I think that was reasonable. A reasonable play.
How often did you pick the first mode on cast, the hit 2 things for 1 damage? Or was it just strictly for Izlain lands?
Never.
Yeah,
I don't think I even casted it. I don't even think I casted it into White Weenie, right? Because like everything's a 1.
I don't think you bring it into White Weenie.
No, yeah. I was almost only ever bringing it in for Jund or I guess like cat food stuff, right, later on. But
yeah. I mean, it feels very much like it's Jund specific hate.
Yeah,
because I don't think you bring it into mono blue Fae either, right? You'd prefer to probably bring in just like Elemental Blast and the festivities.
Correct. Yeah.
Although I don't know if End the Festivities or Cast is better against Fae. I feel like they may be equal.
Well, to John's point too, I think like Electricary works better.
That's definitely the best
option against Fae. Yeah. If I had gotten my hands on it, I would have probably looked a little bit closer to the 2 of these as well instead of the 4 ends. But and the festivities did the thing when I needed it to. But it's certainly not a perfect card. I probably wouldn't bring 4 again.
Yeah.
The sorcery speed on it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that hurts.
against fairies, I think it's way worse because of the sorcery speed.
Yeah.
Because it forces you to start committing on your turn, which is not a great place to be. That's how you lose the match. But the one thing that I noticed with Smash, so I don't play Rally, but I do play Mono Red Madness, and I think the sideboards are pretty comparable.
Mhm.
I cut my relics for Fairy Macabres, for 3 Fairy Macabres recently.
Mm.
And yeah, because it's free, right? It's free.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a Tormod script, but instant speed. And the thing that I really like about the Fairy Macabre is that when they Mezfiend your Fairy Macabre, let's say they Mezfiend your hand, if they Mezfiend your Tormod script, and they go for a spy combo, and on their turn, if you bolt the Mezfiend, you get a Tormod script, you're screwed because you can't cast it. The Fairy Macabre, you bolt the Mezfiend, you get your Fairy Macabre, you can still instant speed it. They're screwed.
I have some in the mail.
Yeah, stocks on Fairy Macabre are extremely high right now.
Yeah, you can just get the whiteboard ones now too.
They also just completely house any kind of flicker deck.
Yeah, I've lost too many times to Spy.
You can't play because you can't play around it. With the onboard artifacts, you can play around them because you know they exist. So then you can like force them to crack. Force your opponent to crack the Grave Hate, and when your yard either doesn't have something in it that you care about, or you have multiple flickers in hand, so then they go to crack it. When you flicker your Archimancer or play an Archimancer, they go to crack, and then you cast the flicker, and you get back the card that you actually want. But with a Fairy Macabre, you cannot make that play. You just get them, and it's pretty rough.
Yeah.
I feel like the flavor of every red deck is just like, does it beat mono blue though? Like that's really it. So it's like as people find the techs, like different red decks feel like they go in and out of favor, right? But
that's true.
They all seem really playable, I think, which is cool.
Yeah, they're all playable. I feel like we're really just splitting hairs. Right? A lot of these cards are like so similar too in their functionality.
Yeah,
kind of one, but
like I can't really fault the difference between Smash and Smithereens and Cast into Fire. They're reading practically the same thing, except for Exile's so much more important.
Some tech that I saw recently that I thought was really cool. I know that John, you were saying like the Spy and the Walls matchups are horrible. Replacing some number of End the Festivities / Electrickery with Smash to Dust. It's a 2-mana sorcery. It's 1 red and colorless. It has 3 modes on it. One is destroy a wall. One is deal 1 damage. Yeah, one is destroy an artifact, and the other is just deal 1 damage to all your opponent's creatures.
That's hilarious.
That's kind of
destroy target Sunscape familiar.
Yeah.
You could do that, but it's really great for destroying those 0-4 walls. It just murks them clean.
That feels like a straight upgrade from my perspective to End the Festivities. Like that.
There you go. And a 2 mana against Fae, it becomes slightly harder to hit with a Spellstar Sprite versus like an End the Festivities, which it gets sprited for free.
It does feel like this deck is kind of like every like new list I'm looking for. It seems like people are experimenting with like, what is that 2 cost like sorcery speed or instant speed cantrip I can get away with playing for 1 red and a colorless, right? Like people are running Suplex as like a sneaky way to deal with Jund and stuff too, right? It's modal, but you get the exile on it too.
Yeah, it's okay.
I kind of like this. This is interesting.
Smash and Dust is spicy.
Yeah, Smash and Dust is cool.
I like this. Spicy.
I might test this.
Yeah, and it's great because if you have like 2 Smash to Dust or 2 plus and 3 Fairy Macabres, the Wall Spy matchup becomes significantly easier. It basically becomes a 50-50 matchup if you're worried about that.
I am. That is.
I am.
That was on my dodge list.
I hate that deck. I mean, I love it. I think it's cool, but I don't want to play against it. No way.
Yeah, I think that's like a pretty good segue into the next topic of discussion. What matchups were you guys trying to dodge the whole time? Because I think, Kevin, you were mentioning elves and familiars.
Yeah, I mean, basically, I don't know. The stuff that I really didn't want to see, the mono white weenie lists are pretty tough because anything that can game 1 bring counterspells can be tough to deal with, but playable in game 1. The biggest thing is life gain in game 1. if they can like feasibly have that in their main deck, those matchups are going to be tough, right? So White Weenie, I really wanted to avoid. Elves with the Wellspringer or Wellspring, right?
Well-wisher, yeah.
Yeah, Well-wisher,
Well-wisher.
Sorry. Still fairly new to the format. But yeah, those were the
It's fine.
ones
We
that...
forget names of cards all the time.
Yeah, those were the ones that I really wanted to dodge. And then on the blue side of things, I was much happier to pull a Terror matchup than Fairies. Fairies felt so much harder to play into. Like, even in game one, they're just packing a lot of, like, similar decks, I guess, right? Like, every piece of cardboard does something, and it's also a piece of cardboard with good text on it, right? So it's a very difficult matchup. I had not a lot of success into those decks when testing, and then pretty much all the combo stuff, I was just going in assuming if I went faster, I could beat it. And if not, I brought the right kind of interaction in game 2 or 3. Truly, that was my thought process, yeah.
I mean, that's a really good thought process. That's how I live my life in this game. Is like, it's like, can I outrace him? Yes?
Yeah.
All right, cool, we're good.
Yeah, I'm going to play towards what my deck's best at, right? And then dodge those if I can. And for the most part, I was really lucky through Swiss. I dodged elves, and I didn't play into any fairies. The one deck I did play into was a mono white list in the second round. I believe Ryan Davies was playing it. He won the last time. Excellent player. I thought I was smoked after that. I got
like the best mono white player in New York.
I got O2'd so fast, and I mulliganed down to 5 like every time. I was no land, 1 land hand, like not keepable both games. So I thought my day was going to end there. Yeah, but you regained the mental, and I pushed forward, and it worked out. But yeah, that was the one whitelist I was pretty worried about seeing again, but we dodged it after that. So,
what were the rest of your matchups like? Out of curiosity,
I had match 1 was Tron. It was like a Tron control kind of thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tron. Yep.
I 2-0'd pretty quickly. I high rolled. I was feeling good at the blackjack table. I was hitting 0-15.
Nice.
And
was that against King Ziggy by any chance?
I don't remember. He was a guy from Patterson, New Jersey. I talked to him. He was dressed pretty nicely.
That's not the guy with the glasses and like the baseball hat and like the tank top.
He was a good player. He got Tron both games, but I killed him pretty quick. And then
that's hard. That's a hard matchup for that.
That was a hard matchup for him.
Yeah,
so I just got there faster. And then Ryan in the second round, he O2'd me.
Yep.
And then I believe I played into 2 terror lists from there back to back. And I had prepared for that list, assuming I was going to see it a lot. So I was really comfortable in my sideboard decisions, and I can talk about that later if you want. But those went pretty well. And then I played into 1 Jund deck, and then I got John in my last round, so it would have been a mirror.
You beat your Jund.
So
player,
Jund, Jund was an interesting one.
Was that in top 8?
Yeah, I was 3-1 going into the Jund game. So what would that be? Round 4? Yeah. So round 4, I went fast, killed him super fast. Game 2, got him down to 5. Pull some Marasa, 2 weather the storms, got him back down to 20. And then God. I was like, he resolved 2 chrysalises, and I was like, let's go game 3. Yeah. And he was like, sure. And then we got pulled onto the match coverage or whatever, the main table. So we were both pretty nervous. We like shuffled, set it up. We basically played it out. I went back and watched it. I definitely misplayed. He knew I was trying to take his land, so he baited me with a Lembas, and I thought I could get there before he could. I thought he was bluffing me, but he ended up keeping a Pulse of Marasa, which got him to a Gathering Storm. I still got him back down to 6, another Gathering Storm, and then basically we went to time at a certain point. I got him back down to 7, but we essentially drew on time, on turns, I guess. Yeah. And then he talked to me. He was like, I already have a draw, so I think I'm out of top 4, so we could put it in as a 2-1 if you want. And I was like, yeah, that's cool. You sure? And he was a very nice guy. So he was honestly
very generous.
He was the whole reason I got through. Because realistically, like at a certain point, I knew I couldn't kill him, so I played for the draw, right? Otherwise, John and I would have had to play each other, especially in that matchup. A draw into Jund is a win, in my opinion. Like, you need to win game 1, no matter what, or else you're cooked. And then hope to God you high roll in 2 or 3, or take a bridge at the right time and really stop them, right? Like,
Fair enough. Yep.
So yeah, and then basically John would have been my last matchup in round 5 or 5.
Six.
Okay. So then we intentionally drew because I got the win there. But yeah, very nice John player. He was a very nice guy. I had seen him at another Pauper event. We had talked at the beginning of the tournament after the first round. We both ran into each other, and one of those moments where it's like, oh, I definitely recognize you. We started talking, and he was like, yeah, what are you running? I was like, I'm on Mono Red Rally. He told me he was on Jund. We talked about how we wanted to, I was like, I'm trying to avoid you, blah, blah, blah. I told him exactly how I sideboarded into his deck and stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, he told me exactly what he did. Like,
that's cool.
Yeah. So he was a very nice guy. So I guess maybe being nice to people sometimes pays off at Magic tournaments would be the moral of the story.
Yeah, 1,000%.
Yeah,
because there's the things people you're going to end up seeing all the time. Just be friends with them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And it's a small community. I mean, it's like, it's big. New York City is a huge place, obviously, and we are like blessed to have such a big Pauper community. But it's like we see each other all the time, right? New York, Jersey City, like this whole area, Brooklyn, Queens. We're always seeing the same players over and over again. So yeah, it definitely pays to be nice.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I felt super lucky. And then obviously even like the fact that I drew John in the last round and he wanted to draw too, and we got to eat, or whatever. Maybe we should have stayed on the blackjack table, I guess, but I'll let John tell his side, I guess.
Yeah. So John gets back to Franklin's question. What decks were you looking to dodge? And then give us a rundown of your matchups.
I was looking to dodge Jund. Same reasons, just I was playing against Eric at testing the night before, and it just Game 1 was somewhat doable. 2 and 3 was just once the sideboard pieces came in, not happening.
It's so brutal, man. Yeah, Karkland Shaman was a hell of a card.
It's insane.
Yeah.
I hate
the only goblin I don't like. Mono white. Same reasons, trying to avoid the hell out of that. And then I've been playing against a lot of 4-land Spy over the last couple of weeks, and not winning against it, so really hoping to avoid that one.
You and me both, brother.
That is, if you win the die roll, Game 1 is achievable, but Game 2 and 3, again, they are
Did you test that match again the night before the tournament at NYCIS?
I did play it, but I played it on Rakdos. With Fairy Macabres on the side and a sideboard, Sazakat's Brew, so that was a lot easier to handle. Like when you actually had counterplay, that is one thing that my list just it wasn't ready for it. It was like dodge that. Hopefully,
time to pack your Fairy Macabres.
They're in the mail. They're on their way.
Yeah.
What were your matchups like?
So round 1, I played Gio, who was on Gardens. We had played Thursday at our local.
How is that matchup? I don't even know, honestly. It feels 50-50, but I don't know.
He felt very confident on it. And I also felt very confident on it, which was weird that we were both kind of like...
So maybe, I think I have the edge. 50-50 assumption was maybe correct. You're both like, I got this.
I drew very good hands, and very quick, very fast hands. I had a hard time setting up. He was making blocks, I think.
His deck is slow. Yeah.
He was making some plays where he's reanimating things that he might not necessarily wanted to do at that time, and... Again, I drew really well in that matchup.
You're super hot.
It was just real fast games. I was getting the 2-land hand with nothing but creatures.
You know what? The more I think about it, maybe it is tough because it's like he's got Crypt Rats, right, as his sort of that's his silver bullet against your guys' deck, right? But unfortunately for him, if you have 2 butts, he's Crypt Rats. He does a Crypt Rats for 2. He's hurting himself. To do that, and that puts him low on life. So he has to basically resolve life gain before or immediately after, activating Crypt Rats, which is kind of asking a lot. Maybe it's you need a lot of cards to make that happen, and you guys don't care. All your cards are just represent damage, right? Every single card represents damage for the most part.
Damage in some way to get rid of a land that you draw in the late game, pretty much.
Exactly, right? So it's damage or cards to draw into more damage. So it's you're whatever, my game plan is the same no matter what. And he's all right, I gotta find this one thing, and I gotta find this other thing, and I gotta synchronize them correctly. Otherwise, they're just gonna hit me over the top with lightning bolts or whatever. So like, he's like trying to do like 40 chests in his head, and I don't know. Maybe like the onus is on him. And I guess if the other part is just magic, right? It's a game of variance. If you don't see all those parts, then, or one of those parts even, then maybe you're screwed.
That is, especially with the clockwork percussionists. It could hit you for 1, or it could flip into a bolt and hit you for 3, was something that he was clearly having to think about. Like,
okay. All right. So funny you should bring that up. All right, I've asked 10 different people this question, and I got 2 different answers basically across each. So each had a different answer, split 50-50. What's the correct response to a clockwork percussionist when you have removal in hand? Do you kill it immediately and you do not want to take the damage from it? Because eventually, it'll get 3 damage in, probably. Do you just kill it? Or you're like, you never block the clockwork. I'm never going to let you flip cards, because then you might flip into a Ren's Resolve, and then you drop more cards, then I'm just screwed. It's a snowball from there. What do you guys do?
I think it's a good question, because a lot of times, and obviously it's hidden information, it depends on what's in my hand, what I want to happen. Like, sometimes I'm sitting there, and I'm like, there's no gas in here. Please kill the percussionist. And sometimes I'm sitting on gas, and I don't have enough mana to cast everything in my hand, and I'm like, no, please let that get in for 1. I have cards, So I think, too, obviously if I'm, like, on a card and you have a reasonable suspicion it's a land or something, you probably don't flip the percussionist.
Right.
But on the flip side, if I have a full grip, then I think that's when you're looking more at being like, all right, what's 1 more card? He needs 6 in hand. Like, let's get rid of it now before he is in a top decking situation where that might come in handy.
Yeah, because it definitely feels like, to your point, right? It's like it gets in for 3 before I probably have a blocker up that I can just, stifle the attack.
Or even if you do have a blocker, like if you have like a bunch of 1/1s up, do you trade with it, or do you just let it get in?
It's a really unique question. I think it's kind of why the deck works, right? Of like, is it worth it for me to take damage into you? Do I have a way to life gain over the top, right? Like, I think those are kind of the 2 axes, right? It's like my direct damage, and like when I'm sure John kind of means this too, but it's like, yeah, you have the bolts and the gal blast, right? Has like instant speed, ways over the top, but like your bread and butter here is like playing good creatures that like do something when they ETB or come in with haste, like get +1/+0, and then bushwhack, right? Like, if you can resolve a bushwhacker on 3 with like, 3-4 creatures, it's very hard for anybody to come back into that. Like, so everything after that, I guess, to your question about the clockwork, it's like, I kind of feel like it's unblockable. Like, kind of block everything else. Like, take the human creature tokens, like, take anything else you can trade with, like the emissaries, all that. But I kind of think the best choice usually is not to block it at all.
Interesting.
So maybe my answer is a little different.
I'm going to give you guys a hypothetical. All right. Maybe we're getting too in the weeds here, but I'm just so curious about this. I feel like this particular clockwork percussionist question reminds me of what is it? The trolley problem, kind of, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but it's like, you've got a trolley, you're controlling the tracks that a runaway trolley is going down, right? You have the choice of like switching the tracks to go and like one direction where it's like guaranteed to kill somebody, or you let it go the other way, but you don't know what's gonna happen there. Like, it might kill someone, it might not. Like, you're basically like absolving your responsibility of any kind of damage that might happen. Like,
no. Sorry, it either kills 1 person or it kills 3 people. Which I think, which is exactly perfect. So do you either take 1 damage or
it's 1 or 3, and the other option is to not do anything and to just like let fate decide, right? But anyway, so it's a hypothetical situation. So it's like it's turn 2. Okay, John, you've got a percussionist and nothing else. You've got like four cards in hand. And Kevin, you've got 4 cards in hand, and you've got an Epicure up, right? So John's turn for combat. He played his percussionist last turn, so it's both mana is up, and you also have both mana up. You have an Epicure out, and then let's say you got some kind of removal. He swings in with the percussionist. What do you do here? Do you block with your Epicure and trade? Based on your answer before, I'm assuming you don't. You let it through.
In the mirror, probably not, right? Because I think it's whoever resolves the most creatures into a bushwhacker probably kills the other person faster, right? Because you don't really want to trade into it, I guess. I didn't really test the mirror that much, so again, I guess maybe I got lucky there. But I was just hoping 4 and the festivities would carry me if needed. But yeah, I think I just think I would let it through. Honestly, like the creature's too valuable on my board for damage purposes, right? Like as just a body to swing back.
You're not going to bolt it.
Yeah, it's kind of
it's 3 creatures.
It's kind of a race. Like if he bolts my creature, I'm like sad about it, right? But I'm like, okay, I can go to face, right? He's missing out on 3 damage to face. Like I know it sounds like kind of elementary, but it's like game 1 you're almost always going to face for everything, right? Unless like you can bolt a big blocker and open yourself up to a huge turn with like a bushwhacker on top of 3-4 creatures, right? That could be huge, but a lot of times, you're just playing out Tomb Raiders, Epicures, and your 1-drops and just hoping that you top deck something useful.
Yep. All right, John, let's flip the situation now. You're the one with the Epicure and the bolt in hand, 4 cards in hand, 2 mana up. Kevin's the one with 2 mana up, 4 cards in hand, Clockwork Percussion's coming at you. What do? Do you let it through? Do you block? Do you bolt it?
Oh, definitely not bolting it. Definitely not bolting it. No.
That feels like a bad
That seems
trade.
objectively correct.
Yeah.
To not do.
Yeah, that I don't feel like doing. I think it partially depends on my hand.
Okay.
Like if I'm sitting there and I'm looking at like a rally, a land, and a bushwhacker, like I'm not blocking that because I know I'm going to get in for more.
Exactly.
Yep.
I mean, if my hand's real weak, maybe I'm thinking about blocking it if I'm worried about getting too low, but I think I'm letting it through. I think I am. Like, in that case, I'm dead anyway. Like, let me take the 1, let me try to race him.
I think it's a good question. It's hard with 2 red players because we're both just like, no, I would attack him with my creature. What are you talking about?
No, that's 1 less creature to block. Of course I'm going to smack you even harder.
Exactly, yeah.
It's funny. It's funny, yeah. And it's just, I feel like the question, the response, it depends so much. And I don't know, 1, I don't know if there's a totally correct answer here. And 2, I feel like it depends so much on the person's personality and playstyle. I feel like it's a cool question to ask because it tells me a lot about your playstyle, which is interesting. For me, I think partly like John, John's answer, you said is defense in your hand. I agree with that for the most part. Besides that, I think I'd probably block. Generally play red, even a fast red deck, still like a control deck, to the point where in mono red mirrors, I almost always, even if I high roll on game 1, I almost always take the draw.
That's interesting.
Yep. In my experience, the deck that plays control stronger wins in the mirror.
I don't know if that's. I mean, I definitely disagree with the list we were running. It's like I wanted to be high rolling literally every time and be on the play game 1 every.
But only mono red, only the mono red mirror, and there's no other match where I would want to be on the draw. But
I could see it. I could see it in the mirror for sure. I actually think that's kind of interesting.
Try it sometime. It's something to test out. But when I started doing that, I read. So there's a really really talented mono red player in Brazil named Carves. He's has the most number of 5-0s and the most number of challenge wins. And that was his recommendation back in the Kuldotha days. It was if you're in the Kuldotha mirror, you always want to be on the draw because you want to play control super hard and you save your bolts for things like their Tomb Raiders and whatnot. Or in that case, it was Monastery Swift Spear at the time. Like you kill their creature that can deal 4+ damage to you for sure. You're wiping those things out. You're never using. You're saving all your bolts going to face, and you only unleash hell when you have lethal on them.
It makes a lot of sense. I'm definitely gonna test it. Yeah, that's I like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I was sure testing against mono black, and I messed up my first game, and Rohan goes, "You're the control deck," and I said, "I'm the what?" And he's like, "No, you got to save those bolts, get those carrier feeders off the board," and it works.
No, in that matchup, that sounds right.
Yeah,
it's like, oh no, you're gonna get too big. No.
Yeah.
I actually played the other side. I played the mono black sack list on Spell Table. That was how I did most of my testing, honestly. Shout out to my friend Enoch. He like commander player, like I pretty much just forced him to like download every single meta deck list and play it into me as I was like net decking and stuff. He spent hours, so shout out
That's
to
awesome.
him. Yeah, he doesn't have a pauper deck, so I want to like I told him I was like the deck he liked the most playing was elves because he was kicking my ass on it.
Mhm.
So I was like, yeah, I'll build you the elf list and like
Hell yeah.
I'll give you that as like a gift since I top aided.
Oh, that's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. So
that's-
I have
that's
to
really
get
nice.
on it, but
Paying
yeah.
forward, love that.
shout out to him. He probably knows the meta better than me at this point, but I learned
He's
all.
played all the decks.
Yeah,
now.
I learned all the matchups I needed to. I was
He's
very
just like a savant at this point.
I was one track focused, but yeah, the mono black list was cool. I played that a lot. Like, I really liked that list. I think it's pretty fun. It just doesn't feel as fast as this one. Like that. That's ultimately it. If you could bring the fastest deck, do that, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Red Rally is the fastest deck in the West. I
think
mean,
so.
well, Spy Combo actually is the fastest deck in the West.
Yeah.
It just kills you on turn 4 90% of the time. But yeah, John. So
Yeah.
back to matchups. What were the rest of your matchups like?
So game 2 was against Familiars, and I have never felt sillier than we were in the same room the night before testing, and at no point did I say, "Hey, you want to grab a game?"
I was open. You guys were like,
I know.
the game would have only been like 10 minutes long.
Yeah.
I'm like, I gained infinite life.
You get a lot of
All right,
testing
pack
with
it in.
mono red. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it was great.
It went pretty well though. Game 1, he played a Sunscape Familiar, a Bolt of the Sunscape Familiar, and I just kept running it in. I got there.
Yeah, I don't know. That's such a sus move on the FAMS players. You never do that against mono red. That's just crazy. Why would you do that? I mean, I get, but you know what? To be fair, maybe it's not the wrong move. Because like if you're really scared, if your hand doesn't have a lot of blockers and you're really scared, then I'd much rather you bolt that than bolt my face. So, okay.
Game 2, he played, I forget the name of the creature. It has 4 toughness and it gains him a life every time he plays a.
Yeah, God
a
First
loose
Faithful
Yes, and
cards.
stabilize super quick.
The best card that you could possibly play into Red Rally. Yeah.
Yeah, flickered a Mole Drifter. I was looking at 7 cards in hand. I said, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
We're wrapping that up.
Yeah.
That'll do it.
Then they moved us to the feature for game 3, and I just drew the nuts and played it out. It was like a percussionist into 2 Tomb Raiders, and that was pretty much the game.
Did you turn for him?
I don't think it was turn 4, but it was
Okay.
it was turn 5 at the latest.
Yeah.
It was-
5 or less. Okay.
It was fast.
Yeah, less than or equal to turn 5.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find it on the stream and just link it down below in the description.
All right. So yeah, you played FAMS. You beat FAMS round 2. Round 2.
That was round 2. Round 3 was into cat food. So game 1, same thing. Fast hand, just played it out. Forced some blocks, got there. Game 2, he stabilized Pestilence, called it after a
Sure.
after a weather. Game 3, I got a fast hand. He had to mulligan down, barely eked it out, but we got there in the end.
Did you ever end up relicking him or destroying his what are they called, the campfires with artifact hate?
No, I had the relic in play game 3, and every turn I was exiling a card. But I didn't see a cat.
Yep.
That was nice. And at the same time, I had a board. And also turned on Metalcraft, so I had Gals on board, which was nice.
Nice.
Yeah, and they're not bringing artifact hate into that matchup. It's like no reason to. So the relics are free in that way, which is cool.
Yeah. And then I got the double emissary into the rally that game. Like you couldn't have asked for better. Yeah,
you were living the dream.
I was absolutely living the dream.
What was after that?
And then game 4 was Walls.
You had the worst matchups.
Walls is a really okay. So
Familiar's pretty bad.
Wall Spy is bad for you, but regular Walls I think is good.
It's not
for
bad.
you.
I guess you had the
Because
Syrian
Axebane Guardian
too.
just dies to bolts and chain lightnings for free, and that is the only wall they really care about.
Yeah.
It also dies to Smash Dust.
That's true. The problem with spy walls is that they play all the O4 walls.
Yeah.
They don't play Axebane. They only play like Wall of Roots and what's the other one? Overgrown Battlement, and like you can't just bolt them, right? And like they can't, like they don't have the infinite like untap tap combo, free for the real combos. And even if they did, they'd only be able to make mono green with Overgrown. So like. Yeah, if you just kill the Axebanes over and over again, they can never keep them alive in regular walls, then they just lose. Like, you just can't win. I guess you can. You get Overgrown Battlement plus Orochi Leaf Color, but, like, Orochi's a one-butt. You can breathe on it, and it just dies. So...
Yeah, I got nice and wide, too, so I was getting damage every turn and saving up all my burn. It was...
Yeah. Is that against Sam?
Yeah. That was against Sam, yeah.
Brutal. You murdered one of your own.
But technically into 2, I felt bad. There's only 5 of us at the beginning. By the end of the day, we had 6. We had added Kevin. We were talking outside. I didn't even know he was from Jersey City until about halfway through. I'm like, oh, where are you from? From Jersey City.
Yeah, I recognized Rohan and Michelangelo, I think. I had met at Pauper Night at Victory Point. Yeah. And then I saw you guys outside, and I was like, all right, I definitely remember these guys. I think Michelangelo started talking to me, and then I was like, all right, yeah. And then you were just like, yeah, I'm also on red. And then we pretty much just were like, you have this? And we were like, you might be running the same list. Yeah.
That's beautiful to hear.
Yeah. And then that's actually funny. Yeah, you had such a different experience through your matches than I did. A lot of terror, and then just
terror ended
it. Yeah.
Terror ended it for me.
And then that Pestilence deck that you beat ended it for me. I didn't even know what it was game 1 or 2. I beat him so fast in game 1. I was like, I don't know what this deck does. So I had to change my sideboard for game 3.
I did the same thing game 1 for the longest time since it was just so slow and not doing anything. I'm like, I just thought it was Gardens. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to play this matchup as if I was playing against Gardens, which for me is like, okay, I'm only going to play value creatures that draw me cards. I'm going to hold back everything else. And, play like a really tight value game because that's how you beat Gardens. No. I was like, wait, but he's playing Cat, and then he got like then he played the Campfire, and he started getting life. I'm like, okay, well, I don't care about life gain. Then he plays Pestilence. I was like, oh no. I can't beat this. I was like, because I negated, like, at one point I negated like a cast down on my familiar. I'm like, whatever. I don't care. Yeah, you can do whatever you want, man. I'm gonna win this eventually. Like, I'm just gonna outdraw you, and then I just win. And then he's like, all right, Pestilence. Was like, well, I guess I'm probably gonna lose it, but I kept playing it as like an idiot. But live and learn.
Yeah, I had no idea what their deck was, so I would have preferred to have played into that terror matchup that you got in the top 8, I think, because I was so prepared for that. I was feeling so good. I was like, I think I could beat any terror deck here. I must have the secret sauce. And that was just the one that I was the most afraid of coming in. But I was like, I know at least that I've tested this, so I know what to do in game 2 and 3. Yeah. The Pestilence deck, I was like, I hope this is right, which I sideboarded appropriately, but I don't know. I just didn't know exactly how he won the game for a while. So I made him play it out on game 2. I was just like, can you tell me how you beat me? And then he explained it, and I was like, let's go game 3, yeah.
Terror's easy when you have a go wide deck. You just get bodies out on the floor.
Yeah.
Get a lot of bodies out.
What are you going to do? Block your second guy?
What are you going to do?
You just want to burn them through counterspells until, like, all of a sudden, kind of like you said, you're on the, like, you just want to make them counterspell stuff you don't care about until you think that they're out, and then you hope to God to resolve that Bushwhacker with the 2 creatures you have on board and kill them. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah,
eventually, Terror always... They will eventually be left with no cards in hand. Always. In every game. It's like a guaranteed truism. They have no card draw, really. They just have card replacement. So eventually they'll have a bunch of snakes out. They'll have like 4, maybe 5 or 6 snakes, right? A Delver or 2, which you can easily burn out. That's not a big deal. And then you'll have like 20 guys out, and they can't do anything about that once they're on the floor. And then, then you just hold all your burn spells until then, and then you're like, all right, Gal Blast, Lightning Bolt, do I win? And they're like, yeah.
Yeah, I have no counter spells left. Yeah.
That was my
and they're like, I just have the land in hand.
Yeah, how did so you drew the rest of the way in the top 8 from there, yeah?
Yeah. So 2 IDs, and then top 8 played into Mono Blue Terror. First game went exactly the way we're talking about. It was great. Got him with the Fire Blast in the end. Immediately sideboarded it out.
Oh, you have a Fire Blast in your deck.
Oh, yeah.
You both won?
Mm-hmm.
Hilarious. Cheeky.
Great card.
Really good.
Really good into blue decks. Yeah.
It's great till it isn't.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you don't play it riskily, but you're not trying. You don't play it in Dispel Pierce, right? So how did your what happened in that Terror match after? Just like bad mulligans, or
so game 2, I kept like an absolute insane hand. It was fantastic, except for the fact that it was one land in it, and I did not find the second one. So I took a risk. Like, it was calculated. I was looking at that hand and going like, okay, I've got the 2 blasts in here. I've got a turn 1 play. I've got the synth. Like, let me take the risk. I'm up a game. If I draw a land, I can just close it out here. And if I don't, I still have game 3, and I'll be able to play for that. So that was my logic going into that. Didn't work out for me. He resolved enough. He was wider than I was with snakes, which is not where I wanted to be.
That's not good.
Game 3, he kept 7. I went down to 6. Wasn't a great 6, but it was playable enough that I didn't want to go down to 5. I kept it. He was going 1 for 1 for me on counter spells. Then snakes came out. It was just, I don't think there was any getting around it. But those games are recorded, so I got to sit down with somebody else.
You can watch them for yourself.
Get a second opinion on them. And everyone has to ignore the land drop I missed in game 1. That's
hey, it happens.
Extraordinarily nervous.
If it makes you feel any better, the 2 game 3s I was on for, I've essentially fumbled and lost both, right? I tied 1, but no wins on broadcast yet.
Oh, well, that's Michelangelo got 2 wins on broadcast.
Hell yeah.
Someone from the team. His only 2 wins, then he lost 3 in a row. I cursed him, unfortunately. I was like, yeah, Spy Walls is just going to take everything and crush everybody. And because your draws are just insane, and you get lucky as sin somehow, and always top deck the combo. He always has it. This guy always has it. No cards in hand, top decks the Balustrade Spy. I'm like, oh, great, cool, of course you do.
Perfect.
But then apparently his lands did not find him in 3 games in a row, unfortunately. Yeah, Franklin, do we have any other questions for these guys before we?
Well, we're gonna ask about how they feel about the meta, but I think we kind of covered it.
Yeah.
Red's good.
Yeah, but what other decks are you guys excited to play after Mono Red Rally?
Yeah, I put it in order for Rakdos Madness. Just have something else to play. In the off chance that the meta swings too far away that this doesn't work. I want to have something I can pivot to. I've had it built before, but I bought enough redundant pieces now that I can have both at the same time. And hopefully get some... A lot of that deck is exactly the same. It's actually surprising, but maybe it's a on that. Yeah, you get life gain, which Rakdos playing into it, out of all of the kind of burn madness decks that are running around, it feels really good into the rest of them. Because gaining that incidental 6 life is really good. When these decks are tuned to hit that 20.
Really good.
I kind of had the same answer. I had tested Rakdos Madness and Mono Red Madness quite a bit before this, and I now have the redundant pieces to probably do the Mono Red version I'm looking at, but maybe I'm leaning more towards the list with all mountains, 4 fire blasts, 4 lava darts, just try to combo out on turn 4 or whatever, so pretty sick. Much.
So sick.
Yeah, so I don't know, just to spice up the red if I want to change it up, or to John's point, if this goes out of the meta or something changes. But I was also looking at the mono black sack list, looked pretty cool. None of the other ones are really speaking to me at the moment, though. Yeah, Burn's fun, playing creatures is fun. And red seems good, simple decisions over a long day is kind of OP.
Clearly, yeah. I mean, what, three mono red decks in top 8 the tournament?
Nutty.
Red seems like it's back. Strong, quite strong.
I don't think it went anywhere. I think it just went Kuldotha's gone.
There was a moment when it was like a little dicey. It's like as soon as Kuldotha was removed, it was like meh. Like the synthesizer list, it was good, but it wasn't like insane. And I think it took people a while to evolve that into like the sort of the two predominant lists, I'd say, we have now, which is like the Mono Red Madness, and then you guys on Rally Red, which is like Rally Red's more of like the true evolution of that deck.
Definitely. I didn't get to play during Kuldotha. I own 4 copies, so I bought it right before it got banned. So I'm a little jealous. John got to play it, but
yeah,
I miss it every day.
Yeah, from what I hear, this definitely is like the spiritual, successor to it in a lot of ways.
When I first started Pauper, I built 3 decks when I first started playing, and it was like Borisynth, Grixis Affinity, and then it was Mono Red Kuldotha, but with Monastery Swift Spirit.
That must be so nice.
That was crazy times. Crazy, the true power.
That card was Pauper legal? Monastery Swift Spirit? No way.
Yeah.
For a full year.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a time.
It was so cracked. It was insane. Swift Spear on 1, Kuldotha on 2, and then into Bushwhacker was just like, it was nuts.
I must be living the dream.
Yeah, it was basically just like, it was just Pauper crack cocaine. Just like, from bullshit go, Yeah.
I am still convinced though that there's something with Emissary. Like, I don't know if it's a true green-red list or something, but I feel like there's got to be some cool stuff you can do with that card, like even outside of this show. So I don't know. I think people are gonna probably find something, but I'm definitely looking forward to like testing like a green-red shell with it, like trying a true Gruul, like burn maybe. I don't know, just like play around with it a little bit more because I do like the combo. It is really fun. Trample seems like it would be awesome, but probably a little too slow, right? I think is ultimately the trade-off. Yeah.
I mean, cards that have like bodies attached to them though or like things attached aren't necessarily the worst. Like I could see something like what is that 3 mana, Franklin? What's the 3 mana vigilance trample makes a treasure?
Jewel Thief.
Jewel Thief.
Yeah.
There's something there, like.
Yeah.
Emissary into Jewel Thief into Bushwhacker seems cool.
Yeah.
Like, that would be... And you only need... You just need 3 mana on board to do that.
Yeah, I think ultimately the trade-off, right, is like, why not just be in red and get in like an extra couple damage, right? And not have to worry about the
just get a bolt in instead.
Yeah.
And having a Jewel Thief on board with like... Then you also need to play a green source of some sort. And you have to find it, which means... You're probably playing tap lands, and you're playing tap lands in red now, and that seems really poopy.
Not that fun.
No, yeah. It's like you're either playing artifact lands or all mountains, right? It's all speed the whole way. But other than that, I was testing some 5-color, like 4-color dragon lists because I ran that a lot in Tarkir drafts, but it's just too slow. I was like, maybe it'll dodge Clarkland Shaman when that was really good, like having some late game flyers and stuff, but it just doesn't get there. It's like all those Gruul ramp lists just feel like they like are so close, but they just don't break through.
Yeah, well, I think there is a build of Gruul ramp that's really good. The problem is that you have no agency. It's a good deck. It's very strong. I think it's like can easily top a tournament, but you're just top, not necessarily top decking, but you are a slave to the top deck. Like you make no choices. The deck just kind of plays itself and does its thing. And
that sounds perfect.
I guess I don't know. It depends on the kind of person you are.
Yeah, I guess.
It was my first Pauper deck, and it doesn't take too many games of turn 1 Arbor Elf into I'm going to bolt that into going like, all right, cool, this hand is now completely unplayable. Let's go to game 2 before you go, maybe something else.
That's true.
Yeah, then you become the person with the bolt.
Look, it happened.
I get it, yeah.
Question for you guys. Do you think that in Avatar, The Last Airbender, there's a card coming out that's a 1 mana, 1 red, 2/1 vanilla? Do you think that sees play in the deck or not really? It doesn't have haste or anything. It's just
I don't think so because like looking at your 1-drops, right? Like you're not cutting Percussionist, you're not cutting Epicure, and you're not cutting Goblin Tomb Raider. They're all.
I mean,
are you there?
You don't think you're cutting Epicure? I mean, I guess not, because you do need to turn on
Metalcraft.
So Epicure is important for that.
Plus the filtering, is not terrible. If you're using the bloods, you're usually in a bad spot, but sometimes it gets you to that bolt or whatever, right?
Right.
But it's a guaranteed damage. Yeah, it's one damage less on, but it's equally as blockable. I like the Epicure. I think you'd have a lot harder time turning on Metalcraft without it.
Yeah, I tend to agree. Is the 2/1? It's an artifact creature, right?
No. I think if it was an artifact creature, it would 1000% see play. I think it would guaranteed take the spot of Epicure, no questions asked.
Yeah, probably.
It's just interesting because it's the first red 2/1 for 1 mana that has no downside that's ever been printed.
They're doing it in all the colors for Avatar, right?
There's a 1-drop in every color, but not a 2.
Not a 2/1. Okay. I thought I saw one in green, but I could be wrong.
No, White already has one in Savannah Alliance.
Yeah.
He's no play. Wait, Savannah Alliance Pauper? Is it a common? Is it uncommon?
I think so, in Foundations at least.
It's just bad.
Also, it feels like in Pauper, like a 1/2 is just better costed. Like there's a lot of stuff that clears 1, right?
It is probably.
Is
it really? Okay.
It just doesn't.
Yeah.
I just don't think a 2/1's worth it on 1 if it doesn't have haste or anything. It probably just is too slow in the deck.
Yeah, I think a 2/1 with haste would be broken.
Oh, that's
I'd love that.
Good.
Yeah. Oh, would be too overpowered. We get banned very quickly.
I'd replace the Epicure right away.
Easy.
I mean, Tomb Raider a lot of times is a straight upgrade on that. Like if you get the furnace on turn 1,
even a 1/2 with haste would get played. I think.
I mean, probably more. I'd probably honestly be happier to play that. I'd be like, it's a 1/2.
Yeah, quite broken. I think we're kind of through here. I don't think I have any other further questions.
I think that's everything.
Any last statements? Any feelings? Any shout outs? Anything else that you want to get out to the people, to the world, before we sign off here?
John, do you have anything? You want me to go?
You got to shout out Victory Point and everyone down there. Like, taught me to play Pauper, let me decks. Testing nights, like everyone down there it is the coolest LGS in the country, and I will die on that hill. I will die on that hill.
Damn. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
First of all, I love that your local LGS is always the best LGS.
I happen to live next to the best LGS. It's just a coincidence.
Yeah. Right.
That's how it should be.
Yeah, I guess same. Shout out Victory Point as well. Also my LGS in the Jersey City area as well. Yeah, the guy who helped me test Enoch, my friend, appreciate that. My brother got me into Pauper. He recently got back into Magic and then kind of found it from there. And then, just don't be afraid to go and try stuff. Don't be afraid to go to tournaments and lose and then try out different stuff. The worst thing you can do is just not try at all. So if you're interested in going and playing Pauper, there's great communities out there. So go find them.
Yeah, we've had a lot of newcomers coming into Victory pretty much every week now, and they were like, this thing seems cool, but, I've been a little scared or a little timid, too timid to come out and try, and then they come out and everyone's like, this is the best, and, let us know if you need anything, if you want to play another deck, we've got, a billion decks that you can borrow and play, we do not give a shit, just come out and play your heart out and just come chill with us. So, if you're listening from the New York City, Jersey City, North Jersey area at all, come by. Thursday nights are our Pauper nights, and it's a good time. So come on. It's fun.
Yeah, and I think with that, everyone, thank you so much for joining. As we all said, try to find your own local scene. Try to go find local tournaments. If you feel scared or intimidated, just go play. If they have a bar, even better. Yeah,
it's still fun to lose. I lose all the time.
I think we all do.
Honestly, I'm not winning a lot these days, but
you learn way more from losing than you ever do from winning. So,
1,000%.
And honestly, you guys have the best mentality of just I'm gonna go play this tournament and just hope to not go O&X.
No, I'm hoping to go O&X, and anything better is just upside.
Yeah,
you want to be a pop monster and just go here's my money. I don't care what happens. I'm gonna go hang out with everyone.
I'm happy sitting on the side with a beer, watching them play on camera. I'm so glad I'm not sitting over there. Those lights look hot.
It was very nerve-wracking every time. Like, I don't know why. I'd be like, I know this isn't a big deal, but I would just be nervous. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pro tip: bring an extra T-shirt to your Magic tournaments in case you get sweaty.
I went black T-shirt.
Just buy 2 copies of every shirt.
Yeah. Buy 2 copies. Yeah, you need a full play set.
Full plates and a
Yeah.
shirt.
It's true. It's true. Cool. Well,
Yeah.
thanks for coming, guys. It's been a pleasure having you. And good luck in your future tournaments. Hope to see you top 8 again. So, yeah.
Just one final thing, Kevin, John. Do you guys have any social medias you want to plug?
No, not really.
Nope.
All right. Well, I'll link their Moxfield down below.
Sweet.
But other than that, everyone, thank you everyone for joining. Have a great week.
Thank you for watching, and if you want to support the channel, please subscribe and join the Discord in our link below. And become a member over on our Patreon.
Shout out to all of our patrons and YouTube channel members: Cobraman, Aaron, Orzo Kadar, Sukinato, NYC Burrito, Little Rad Lotad, Frank, Scoob, Too Much Do, and Josh. Thank you so much for all of your support and keeping the channel going.